Your budget alerts will let you know when your budgets are capped, if they're underspending or overspending. So you can very easily see like what your actual spend was, what percentage under or over you are of your allocated budget, and then a quick chart showing you where your spend versus your budget is. Now we can click then into this and see more data about our budgets. So first off, a budget is either a campaign or a shared budget. If you have a shared budget, then you can see the shared budget name and you can click to see all the campaigns in that shared budget. Then your campaigns for that budget, whether it's one or more, your spend, and then we get spend status. So this will show us if we're over budget or if we're under budget. Then we can click on these and we will see our spend for the last few months, and then did we go over or under our budget. Next we can go to notification criteria. By default, you'll get notifications for overspending if you're more than 10% over your daily budget in the last 7 days for the current month. And then you can also create your own custom alerts and either apply that to all the budgets in your account or just that individual one. And then we can go to our underspending alerts. By default, it's when less than 30% of the daily budget in the last 7 days was spent. And that'll say, hey, you're underspending, so you may want to either raise the budget or manipulate budgets. And then again, you can set your own custom data and then apply settings to the entire account or that one account. So when we see that we are overspending and have alerts, or our budget is capped. So if our budget is capped, right, this is because we're losing impression share budget. Now when our budget is capped, that means we could raise our budget and get more impressions and potentially more conversions. So we can see our lost impression budget share for this time frame is 38% and our overall is 13%. So then we can see what our maxed boost is if we eliminate lost impression share budget. So then with this chart, we can hover over and see our impression gain in blue based upon the increase in budget. We can see our click gain and our conversion gain. So if we raised our budget by 168, we would have 15 more conversions. If we raised it by 149, we'd have 15 more conversions. The conversions flatline. So a 149 budget increase would give us 15 more conversions. The other thing you can do is change your delivery method from standard to accelerated. Now, in addition, you could pause losers, especially your high CPA ads because they're spending more. You can pause low performing keywords. You could add suggested negative keywords from search terms and engrams, or decrease bids if you see a lot of overspend or capped budgets. If you see underspend notifications, right, this means you're significantly underneath where your spend could be. And so in cases where you're underspending, you might change your delivery method if it's standard to accelerated. You can move budgets from one campaign to another campaign. You can, of course, increase bids. You can pause your worst click-through rate or conversion per impression and revenue per impression ad losers because you'll get more clicks and spend more of that budget. You can add your top search terms as keywords. You could add new keywords or ad groups or even expand locations and other expansion options. Now, with lost impression share budget, we can then look to see what our performance boosts are and our notifications. Now next we can see performance charts. If we click on this icon, we can see 3 different charts about our spend. So the first is your daily budget versus your daily spend. Now your daily budget started being tracked on a specific day. If you're new, it's the day you signed up. If you've been using us for a while, it's the day we rolled this out. You can see what is your daily budget and then what is your spend. And you can see these graphed over time to see are there super high spend days you may be missing. Was the campaign, that budget, completely paused for a while? We can look at our daily budget cumulative to daily spend. So this is our daily budget, but we spent very little of it in month 1. And month 2 we were closer, And month 3, we were right on our budget until the campaign was paused for a few days. We can see our lost impression share due to budget. Now, when you see breaks in impression share, it's because there was no spend. So there is no lost impression share budget if there was no spend. So we can start to see how often A, was there no spend, but B, do we consistently lose impression shares because of budget reasons? If we see that our impression share loss due to budget is really high in our better campaigns, we should manipulate budgets to move budgets there. So if our budget is capped, that means we could raise our budget and get more impressions and potentially more conversions. So we can click into our chart so we can see as we raised our budget by a specific amount, how many more conversions, impressions, and clicks would we get. So if we raised our budget by 149, we would get 15 more conversions. So then we can go over to our budget and we can raise our budget, in this case by 149. So 149 plus 2160 is 170.60. And then we can save this new budget. So when you see a capped budget, take a look at if you increased your budget by this amount, this is how many more conversions, impressions, and clicks you would receive at different budget increases. Now, sometimes you're only running things weekly or you have a quarterly budget. So you can say, well, I really have a $10,000 quarterly budget, so what do I need to enter for a daily value? Or if we're only running a promotion for a very specific time frame, then we can enter our budget and show then what our daily budget needs to be based on our total budget for this time frame. So a nice calculator if you're only running something from a week or you have a monthly budget or a quarterly budget or a custom range budget to see what you need to use. Then you can click to add this as a budget. And then you can also see, again, your daily budget chart based on the day that we started tracking budgets. So by using this system, you can monitor your budgets for overspend or underspend. You can set up alerts for overspend alerts or for underspending alerts. So when you see that your budget is capped, click in, see if you raised your budget by this amount, this is how many more conversions you would receive and clicks and impressions. And then you can go into your budget and set your new budgets to that raised amount plus your current daily budget. You can change your delivery method, and you can historically see your data over time to see how your budgets have done versus your actual spend, especially when it relates to lost budget impression share. And so by using the system, you should be able to easily monitor budgets to ensure that you are spending your budget or know where you need to make adjustments to the campaigns to hit the budget you're trying to reach in any given time frame.